Have you ever looked in the mirror and wondered, how did I end up here? That silent moment when you realize you're not just tired, you're empty. Not just lost, but completely disconnected from who you used to be. It happens quietly, one heartbreak, one wrong turn at a time, until one day you wake up and realize you've hit rock bottom. It's not just a place, it's a feeling. It's the weight on your chest that doesn't let you breathe right. It's the voice in your head whispering that maybe you're not enough, maybe you never were. But before you turn away, before you scroll past, listen to this. If you stay with this message until the end, you will discover something most people never do: how the lowest point in your life can become the foundation of your greatness. Not some fairy tale, not magic,
Not hype.
real power, real change from the inside out. You see, rock bottom isn't the enemy. It's the place where all the lies get stripped away. The ego, the noise, the masks, everything you used to hide behind is gone. And what's left is the truth. It's the truth that hurts at first, because the truth tells you that no one is coming to save you. The truth reminds you that comfort won't carry you out of this. The truth forces you to face every part of yourself you've been avoiding for years. And that's where the power begins. Psychologists say people don't change when they see the light. They change when they feel the heat. Rock bottom is that heat. It's the pressure that cracks your old identity. It's the darkness that makes you crave your own light. And that craving, that desperation, becomes the first spark of real motivation. This isn't about fake positivity. This is about survival, mental survival, emotional survival, spiritual survival. Because when you're at the bottom, you start asking questions you never asked before. Who am I without success? Who am I when no one's cheering? What's left when everything else is gone? And the truth is, what's left is everything you need. Because at rock bottom, you don't have distractions. You don't have options. You just have you. And finally, you're forced to meet the version of yourself that's been hiding under the noise. That version of you, the one who doesn't quit, who doesn't beg for permission, who doesn't need applause, that version is born when you're broken. It's not weakness. It's awakening. Think about it. Every person you admire, every success story, every legend, every comeback, they all started the same way: broken, lost, doubted, overlooked. But what made them rise wasn't luck. It wasn't talent. It was a decision to not stay there. Because the truth is, staying at the bottom is a choice. And rising, even when it hurts, is also a choice, one most people never make. Why? Because it's easier to be a victim than a fighter. It's easier to say, I can't, than to whisper, I will, when everything is falling apart. But you're not most people. You wouldn't still be listening if you were. You have something inside you, something powerful. You just forgot it was there. And that's why this moment matters more than any victory ever could. Because how you show up when you've lost everything, that's who you really are. This is the test. And the test is not meant to destroy you. It's meant to reveal you. So here's the truth most people run from: rock bottom is not your enemy. It's your beginning. And if you have the courage to keep going, if you're brave enough to listen to that quiet voice inside that says, this isn't how my story ends, then you're already rising, slowly, silently, but surely. Because the strongest people in this world aren't the ones who never fall. They're the ones who fall and choose to rise again. Keep listening. Because the deeper we go, the more you'll understand you were never broken. You were just being rebuilt. And greatness doesn't begin at the top. It starts right here, at the bottom. Rock bottom isn't just a place you reach. It's something you feel in your bones. It's the kind of silence that screams inside your mind. The kind of emptiness that fills every part of your day, even when you're surrounded by people. It's waking up and not knowing why you should get out of bed. It's pretending to smile while your soul feels like it's sinking. It's hearing the words, it'll be okay, and feeling nothing. Because deep down, you don't believe it. No one sees it from the outside. But on the inside, it's like you're drowning, and no one even knows you're underwater. That's what makes rock bottom so painful. It's invisible. You carry it alone. Psychologically, the human brain is wired to seek meaning. But at your lowest, nothing makes sense. The plans you made fall apart. The people you trusted disappear. And the version of yourself you once believed in fades away. You begin to question everything. Why did this happen to me? Why now? What did I do wrong? And sometimes the hardest part isn't what you lost, it's what you lost inside yourself. Hope, confidence, faith, energy. Even the simplest things feel impossible. Getting dressed, making a decision, answering a message. It all becomes heavy, like you're dragging your body through every hour of the day. But here's the truth most people don't say out loud. Sometimes rock bottom feels like failure, but it's actually grief. You're grieving the version of you that didn't survive, the dream that didn't happen, the love that didn't last, the identity that got shattered. And grief isn't weakness. It's evidence that you cared, that you tried, that you loved, that you believed, and that matters. Because people who never hit rock bottom never really gave their whole heart to something. But you did. You showed up. You took risks. You gave your all. And that's why the fall hurts so much. There's a name for this kind of deep emotional impact: identity collapse. It's when who you thought you were can no longer survive your current reality. And that hurts. Because now you're forced to rebuild not your life, but yourself. And that's where transformation begins. But first, the pain has to be felt, not buried, not denied. Because what you feel, you can heal. Most people try to escape this part. They distract themselves, they numb it, they fake strength. But inside, the damage only grows. Real strength is letting yourself break. Real healing is standing in the wreckage of what was and choosing not to run. Because the longer you avoid the feeling of rock bottom, the longer you stay there. You have to face it. You have to walk through it. You have to sit in that silence long enough to hear what it's trying to teach you. And it will teach you. It will teach you who your real friends are. It will teach you what really matters. It will show you the difference between surface strength and inner power. It will break the version of you that couldn't go any further. So the version of you that has room to be born. And even if it doesn't feel like it now, this pain has purpose. Neuroscience tells us that the brain creates new pathways when exposed to struggle. You are literally being rewired through the fire. You're not going crazy, you're growing. But it doesn't look pretty. It looks like tears on your pillow. It looks like late nights with no answers. It looks like silence in places that used to feel safe. But all of that is part of the process. Because rock bottom strips away everything that is not real. And in doing that, it reveals what is. You raw, exposed, vulnerable, and ready to rise. This isn't just about rebuilding your life. It's about rediscovering yourself. Not who the world told you to be, but who you truly are when there's nothing left to prove, nothing left to chase, nothing left to fake. This is where the foundation of greatness is formed, not in strength, but in surrender. Not in pretending, but in feeling. Not in holding on, but in letting go. So if it feels like everything is falling apart right now, maybe, just maybe, it's all falling into place. Because rock bottom doesn't mean it's over. It means the rebuilding has just begun. Sometimes the best thing that ever happens to you doesn't feel good when it's happening. Rock bottom is one of those things. It feels like punishment. It feels like the universe turned its back. But it's not the end. It's the beginning that doesn't come wrapped like a gift. It comes wrapped in pain. That pain is not there to destroy you. It's there to wake you up to everything you've been ignoring, to everything you've been afraid to face, to the parts of you that got buried beneath expectations, fear, and routine. You see, most people live their whole lives half awake, going through the motions, chasing approval, avoiding discomfort, avoiding truth. But when life knocks you down so hard that you can't pretend anymore, that's when real life starts. Because you finally stop running, you stop hiding, you stop lying to yourself about what matters. You meet yourself, the real you, not the one shaped by status, success, or survival, but the one beneath all that. And that meeting, that's where power lies. Pain strips away everything that's not essential, and what's left is something pure, something raw, something real. The truth is, most people don't grow when things are easy. Comfort creates repetition. Struggle creates transformation. Psychologists call this post-traumatic growth. It means that after a major emotional low, some people don't just recover. They come back stronger, wiser, and more driven than ever before. Why? Because the struggle forced them to become something more. They were reshaped by fire, and fire doesn't destroy gold, it purifies it. That's what rock bottom does. It removes what no longer serves you. It forces you to question what you've been settling for, and it demands you rise with a new level of honesty, strength, and self-respect. You begin to see clearly. You realize how much time you gave to people who didn't value you, how long you held on to things that were never meant for you, how deeply you betrayed yourself trying to please others, and once you see that, you can't unsee it. Rock bottom becomes your reset, the place where you get to rebuild, not from who you were, but from who you were always meant to be. This is the opportunity most people miss. They think life is over. They think they've failed. But what they don't see is that failure is the universe's way of closing the wrong door. So you're finally forced to find the right one. This pain, it's not random. It's a message. It's saying, you weren't living fully. It's time to wake up. It's saying, you were living small, playing safe, avoiding truth. Now it's time to become who you were built to be. Sometimes you have to lose yourself to finally find yourself. And what you find is someone who doesn't need the approval anymore. Someone who no longer begs for love or attention or validation. Someone who looks in the mirror and sees strength, not shame. Fire, not fear. That's the gift of becoming. Because when you're at your lowest and you realize you still have breath, still have fight left in you, you start to feel something powerful rise inside. It's not loud, it's not flashy, but it's real. It's the will to rebuild. It's the quiet decision that says, I will not let this define me. And from that moment, everything changes. You start setting boundaries. You stop shrinking to fit. You choose peace over people pleasing. You choose purpose over comfort. And this time, you're not building to impress. You're building to live. You're building with clarity, intention, and truth. That's the kind of life that lasts. That's the kind of strength no one can take from you, because it wasn't given to you. And you earned it at the bottom, when no one was clapping, when no one believed, when it was just you, the pain, and the choice to keep going. That's why this isn't a curse. This isn't punishment. This is your awakening. And the deeper the fall, the greater the rise. So if you're in the darkness right now, remember this is not the end of your story. This is the page where everything changes. The moment where you rise, not despite the pain, but because of it. Rock bottom isn't your final chapter. It's just the plot twist you didn't see coming. That leads to your greatest comeback. Something powerful happens when you break, not just emotionally, not just mentally, but completely, down to the core of who you are. Because when you break, the old wiring in your mind starts to fall apart. And for the first time in your life, you're not pretending to be strong. You're not holding it all together. You're just there, raw, real, and fully aware that something has to change. That's not weakness. That's transformation beginning. Psychologists have studied what happens in the mind during a breakdown, and what they found is profound. The human brain is built to adapt, to survive, to evolve. Even in the darkest moments, the mind is quietly looking for a way out, a way forward. This is called neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself through experience. And guess what triggers the deepest rewiring? Struggle, loss, breakdown. When life shatters everything you knew, your brain doesn't quit. It searches for meaning. It begins creating new connections, new patterns, and new strength. You may feel broken, but underneath the pain, you are actually being rebuilt. Not the old version of you. Not the person who fit in, played small, or played it safe. But a new you, a version forged in fire. And fire doesn't just burn, it reshapes. But here's what most people don't realize. Breaking is not the end of your story. It's the place where the ego dies, where illusions collapse, where masks fall off. And in that empty space, you meet your truth. The voice that was buried under noise. The calling that was drowned by comfort. The identity you lost in the chase to be accepted. When everything falls apart, the mind finally stops trying to perform. It starts to reflect, to understand, to ask real questions. Who am I now? What really matters to me? What kind of life do I actually want? These are not questions asked in comfort. They're asked in pain, in silence, in the mess of it all. But the answers, they are the blueprint for your comeback. This is the psychology of rebuilding: first, the breakdown, then the pause, then the shift. And that shift is where everything changes. Because you start making decisions based on truth, not fear, based on purpose, not pressure. You stop chasing the life that looked good and start building the life that feels right. From a psychological standpoint, this is where identity begins to evolve. You stop defining yourself by your past, your failures, or your circumstances. And you start defining yourself by who you choose to become. That's powerful because it means you're no longer reacting to life. You're creating it. It's in the rebuilding phase that your standards rise. You start saying no to what drains you. You stop explaining yourself to people who don't understand you. You stop chasing people who don't value you. And slowly, without even realizing it, you begin to trust yourself again. You begin to respect the journey. You begin to build a life that reflects your values, not your wounds. That's what healing truly looks like. Not pretending everything's okay, but building something better from the pieces of what broke. The science supports it. Resilience isn't about bouncing back to who you were. It's about rising as someone stronger, more aware, more grounded, more real. It's called post-traumatic growth, and it's one of the most powerful transformations the human mind can go through. You didn't ask for the pain. You didn't want the fall. But now that you're here, you have the opportunity to become something greater than who you were before. And that is the gift within the breaking. Because once you've survived what you thought would destroy you, you stop fearing life. You stop fearing failure. You stop fearing people's opinions. Because you know, deep down, that you're capable of coming back from anything. You've proven to yourself that rock bottom isn't the end. It's the ground you rise from. And every scar you carry is proof that you didn't just survive, you transformed. So if you're still in pieces right now, take your time. Feel the pain. Let it teach you. Let it shape you. But don't stay broken, because your mind is ready to rebuild. Your soul is ready to rise. And every part of your story, even the darkest ones, can be used to build something extraordinary. You're not starting over with nothing. You're starting again with wisdom, with strength, with clarity. That's the power of breaking, and that's the miracle of rebuilding. You feel the weight, the exhaustion, the quiet battles no one sees. And maybe some days, it's hard not to think you're weak, like you're failing because you're tired, because you're hurting, because it's all taking longer than it should. But here's the truth. No one told you you're not weak. You're being forged like metal in fire. Bent, shaped, pressured, refined. Not to be broken, but to become unbreakable. Every powerful thing in nature is shaped by pressure. Steel is made under heat. Diamonds are created in darkness. Mountains rise from collision. You are no different. The pain you feel right now isn't a sign that you're losing. It's a sign that you're changing, growing, shedding the old layers that no longer serve you. Your discomfort is the evidence of transformation in motion. And yes, it hurts. Real growth always does, because you're being stretched beyond your limits. You're being tested to discover how deep your strength really runs. And the truth is, you've already survived what you thought would break you. That alone proves your power. Psychology tells us that people often confuse emotional fatigue with weakness, but what they're actually experiencing is resilience in motion. The body is tired, the mind is overwhelmed, but the spirit still standing. And that's what makes you different, because you felt the pressure, but you haven't given up. You've had every reason to stop, but you're still here, listening, fighting, becoming. Forging isn't about speed, it's about depth. It's not about how fast you rise. It's about how solid you become, and that takes time. Most people don't understand what it means to be forged, because they've never let themselves stay in the fire long enough. They escape, they numb, they run. But you stayed, you faced the flames. You allowed life to press into your soul without folding. That's not weakness, that's rare strength. Think of the strongest people you know. Not the loudest, not the flashiest, but the ones who carry calm like armor, who walk with quiet confidence. They didn't get there by avoiding pain. They got there by enduring it, by learning from it, by letting it forge something deeper inside them. That's who you're becoming now. You're not the same person you were before the fall. You're not soft anymore. not naive, not afraid to be alone. Because now you know your own strength. You've met your darkness and walked through it. And when you come out the other side of that, you don't fear life anymore. You don't beg for things that drain you. You don't shrink yourself to fit places you've outgrown. You've been forged in silence, in struggle, in all the nights you cried and still woke up the next day. This is how warriors are born, not in glory, but in grit, not in comfort, but in chaos. So the next time your mind tries to tell you you're weak, remember where you've been. Remember what you've survived. Remember that most people don't even have the courage to look at their pain, let alone rise from it. But you did. You faced it head on. And every time you chose not to quit, even when you had every reason to, you were being forged. You're becoming someone powerful, someone solid, someone unshackable. And the beauty of being forged is that once you've gone through it, you no longer fear the fire. You become the fire. You stop doubting your worth. You stop chasing things that make you forget your value. You start standing in who you are fully, finally, completely. So breathe. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're becoming. And this version of you, the one rising from the heat, from the tears, from the chaos, this is the real you. Not the you the world shaped, not the one you pretended to be, but the one that was hiding under all the fear, under all the failure, under all the noise. And now that version is rising. Not to prove anything, but because it's time. You're not weak. You never were. You were just in the fire. And now, you're ready to walk out forged. There comes a moment in every journey when silence surrounds you, doubt crawls in, and nothing around you feels different. But something inside you is no longer the same. That's the moment, the turning point. And it doesn't come with noise, applause, or signs. It arrives quietly, like a whisper that says, I can't keep living like this. It doesn't take a miracle to change your life. It takes a choice, just one, and not a loud one, a silent, private decision that no one else sees. But everything begins there, that one choice to stand back up, to show up again, to breathe through the pain and move anyway. It's not dramatic, it's not pretty, but it's real. The world loves stories of success, but what they often miss is the exact moment when everything shifted. That split second when a person decided, deep in their soul, I will not let this be the end of me. That's where everything changes. Because the truth is, your life doesn't change when the pain ends. It changes when you decide to fight through it, when you realize that no one is coming to save you, and you choose to become your own rescue. Psychologically, this is called agency, the belief that you still have power even in chaos, even when you've lost control of everything else, even when the past can't be undone. And that belief, that tiny flicker of power, is enough to ignite a fire inside you. It won't feel like a breakthrough at first. It might just be getting out of bed, taking a walk, drinking water, saying no when you usually say yes, or showing up one more day when quitting would be easier. But that one decision becomes two, then three, then momentum. Because every time you choose progress over paralysis, you rebuild trust with yourself. You prove again and again that you're not broken. You're becoming. One of the most powerful truths about human psychology is this: small choices compound, and so does self-respect. Each time you choose courage, even in the smallest way, you shift who you are becoming. And suddenly, the world around you starts to change. Not because it got easier, but because you got stronger. You stopped waiting to feel ready. You stopped needing motivation, and you started moving with purpose. That's the real turning point. Not when the pain disappears, but when you stop letting it control you. You stop feeding the voice that says, it's too late. I'm too far gone. I'll never come back from this. And instead, you say, watch me climb from this. Watch me rise with nothing but grit and breath and refusal to quit. That's the moment the world shifts. Not for the people watching, but for you. Because you realize for the first time that your comeback isn't about proving anything. It's about reclaiming your life. It's about standing at the edge of everything that tried to break you and choosing not to step back, but to step forward, even if it's just 1 inch, even if your hands are shaking, even if your heart is still hurting. That's strength, that's power, and it lives inside you right now. Not when you get better, not when everything is perfect, but now, in the middle of the storm. Because real transformation never waits for the right moment. It creates the right moment with one quiet choice: to try, to believe, to keep going, even when nothing around you says you should. That's how change begins. That's how lives are rebuilt. That's how greatness is born. One moment, one breath, one decision at a time. So if you're standing on the edge right now, don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for someone to understand you. Don't wait for permission. Make the choice, right here, right now, to stop sinking, to stop doubting, to stop letting your past predict your future. You are not done. You are not defeated. You are at the turning point. And this one choice can change everything. Change is not a sudden storm that sweeps through and rearranges everything all at once. It's not fireworks or loud declarations. It's quieter than that. Real change happens in the small moments, the tiny steps you take when no one is watching, the decisions you make to keep moving forward even when it feels like nothing is happening. This is where most people give up, because they expect the mountain to move in one leap. They want instant transformation. But life and growth don't work that way. The truth is, small steps create the biggest shifts. Human psychology is wired for consistency, not perfection. When you take even the smallest action, a tiny win, your brain rewards you. It releases dopamine, the chemical of motivation and pleasure, and that pushes you to want more. That's the science behind momentum. Small victories build confidence. Confidence builds courage, and courage builds change. If you're struggling to believe this, think about the last time you started something new. Maybe exercise, learning a skill, or waking up earlier. At first, it was tough. You stumbled, you slipped, you doubted yourself. But when you celebrated those first few successes, even just showing up, you started to believe it was possible. And that's exactly what your journey from rock bottom needs. Not giant leaps, but steady, consistent steps. Because when you're rebuilding, trying to fix everything all at once is a recipe for overwhelm and failure. It drains your energy, it kills your motivation, and it makes the mountain look insurmountable. But when you focus on the next right thing, just the one next small step, you begin to chip away at the impossible. These small steps are how the weak become strong. The lost find direction. The broken become whole. The key is patience. Patience with yourself. Patience with the process, because change takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. You might not see the results today or tomorrow or even next week, but every day you choose to move forward, you're planting seeds for a future you haven't seen yet. Psychology calls this the power of delayed gratification, choosing the hard right now for a better tomorrow. It's uncomfortable, it's uncertain, but it's the path to freedom. The greatest successes in history were not built on giant leaps alone. They were built on relentless, patient progress. That's how the strongest people got their strength. One small choice after another, one day at a time. You might be thinking, but what if I fail again? What if I'm not strong enough? That fear is normal. Everyone feels it. But remember, courage isn't the absence of fear. It's moving forward despite it. When you take small steps, you prove to yourself that fear doesn't control you. You rewrite the story your mind tells you about who you are. From I can't to I'm trying. From I'm broken to I'm healing. From this is the end to this is just the beginning. Small steps give you a sense of control when everything feels chaotic. They ground you. They remind you that progress is possible, even if it's slow, and slow is better than stopped, because each small step forward is a declaration. I'm still here. I'm still fighting. I'm still choosing myself. When you add them up, day after day, week after week, those small steps become a new way of living, a new mindset, a new identity. You start to see yourself not as a victim of your past, but as a warrior of your future. So start where you are, no matter how small the step feels. No matter how insignificant it seems, take it anyway. Maybe it's setting a goal to wake up 5 minutes earlier. Maybe it's writing down one thing you're grateful for. Maybe it's reaching out to someone who supports you, or simply breathing deeply when the storm feels too loud. These tiny acts add up. They change your brain. They change your habits. They change your life. And the beauty of small steps is this: you don't need permission. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need to start. Because greatness isn't built in a day. It's built in the quiet moments, the small victories, the relentless commitment to rise. So keep moving. Keep stepping forward. Even if it's just a little bit, your future self is already cheering you on. Because every step you take today is the foundation of your greatness tomorrow. What if the only thing standing between you and greatness is what you refuse to let go of? We carry more than just physical baggage. We carry the weight of the past, the heavy chains of fear, guilt, and regret. Invisible burdens that slow every step forward. Sometimes, the hardest part of rising from rock bottom is not fighting the outside world, but battling what's trapped inside. Pain, anger, disappointment. These feelings become anchors that hold us in place. Even when our minds crave freedom, our hearts clutch onto what hurts. Because letting go feels like losing a part of ourselves. But here's a truth backed by human psychology. Holding on to pain doesn't protect you. It imprisons you. It keeps you stuck in a loop of suffering, replaying the same stories, reliving failures and mistakes like they define you. But they don't. What defines you is the courage to release what no longer serves you. Letting go is not forgetting. It's not excusing what happened or pretending it didn't hurt. It's about reclaiming your power, choosing peace over pain, choosing freedom over fear. The paradox is this: the more you hold on, the more you feel trapped. The more you let go, the more space you create for growth. Psychology teaches that clinging to negative emotions creates a cycle called rumination. It's when your mind constantly replays painful memories, feeding sadness and hopelessness. Breaking that cycle requires a conscious decision to stop feeding those thoughts and start focusing on what moves you forward. This doesn't happen overnight. It's a process, often messy and uncomfortable. You might feel lost or scared as you let go of old parts of yourself. But trust this, the pain you feel during release is the pain of transformation. When you let go, you create room for new energy, new opportunities, and new hope. Think about a tree that holds on to dead leaves all winter. It's weighed down and unable to grow. But when it drops those leaves, it prepares for spring's new life. You are like that tree. Shedding what's dead and heavy inside you makes space for your own new season. Letting go also means forgiving. Not for anyone else's sake, but for your own. Forgiving doesn't mean forgetting or accepting harm. It means freeing yourself from the chains of bitterness and anger. Anger feels like strength, but it slowly drains you. It keeps your focus on what hurt you, not on where you want to go. Forgiveness is power. It's reclaiming your peace. It's standing tall without the weight of resentment dragging you down. You deserve that peace. You deserve that freedom. And while letting go is a deeply personal journey, one thing is certain: you cannot move forward while still holding on to the anchors of the past. Your greatness waits on the other side of release. It's where courage meets freedom, where hope replaces despair, where you finally say, I'm ready to live for what's next, not what's behind. So start small. Let go of one grudge. Release one regret. Say no to one fear that's kept you paralyzed. Each time you do, you reclaim a piece of yourself. You build momentum. You heal. It's okay if it feels scary. It's okay if it's slow. Because every step toward release is a step toward becoming who you were meant to be. You are not your past. You are not your mistakes. You are the strength rising from the ashes of everything you've let go. Remember, the chains that held you will break only when you decide they no longer serve you. So ask yourself, what are you ready to release today? Your future is waiting for you on the other side. And it's brighter, freer, and stronger than you ever imagined. What separates those who rise from rock bottom to greatness from those who stay stuck in the same place? It's not talent. It's not luck. It's the mindset. The way you think about your struggle, your pain, your setbacks. This is the foundation of everything you will become. The mind that refuses to quit is more powerful than any obstacle. It's the difference between falling down and getting back up, between giving in and pushing through. But building that mindset isn't easy. It takes intention. It takes practice. It takes a deep understanding of yourself. First, understand this: your thoughts are not facts. They are stories your mind tells you. Sometimes those stories are helpful. Sometimes they're harmful. When you hit rock bottom, your mind might say, I'm worthless. I'll never recover. This is the end. But those are lies disguised as truth. They are just thoughts. You have the power to change the narrative. Changing your mindset starts with awareness. Notice the stories you tell yourself. Challenge the ones that hold you back. Replace them with truths that empower you. For example, instead of, "I can't do this," try, "I'm learning how to do this." Instead of, "I failed," say, "I'm growing stronger from this experience." Instead of, "I'm broken," say, "I am healing." This simple shift rewires your brain. It rewires your life. Because your brain is plastic, it changes based on what you focus on. And when you focus on growth, resilience, and possibility, you create new pathways to success. Next, embrace failure as part of the journey. Failure is not a dead end, it's a stepping stone, a lesson, a necessary part of becoming great. Every person who has achieved greatness has failed many times, but they refused to quit. They learned, adjusted, and kept moving forward. This refusal to quit, this mental toughness, is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. You can build it by facing challenges head on, by practicing discipline when motivation fades, by reminding yourself why you started in the first place. Another key is surrounding yourself with the right influences. Your environment shapes your mindset more than you realize. When you spend time with people who believe in you, who push you to grow, who hold you accountable, your mindset strengthens. But if you surround yourself with negativity, doubt, or people who don't support your growth, your mindset weakens. Choose your company wisely, protect your energy, guard your mind like it's the most valuable thing you own, because it is. Finally, practice gratitude and self-compassion. When you appreciate what you have, even the small things, your mindset shifts from scarcity to abundance. You start to see opportunities instead of obstacles. Self-compassion means treating yourself with kindness, especially when you fail or struggle. It means understanding that pain and setbacks are part of being human. When you practice this, you stop beating yourself up. You stop giving your mind permission to quit. Instead, you encourage it to keep going. Building a mindset that never quits isn't about being perfect. It's about being persistent, being patient, being relentless. It's about choosing day after day to believe in yourself, to believe that no matter how dark it gets, you have the strength inside to keep moving. Remember, your mind is the battlefield where your greatest victories happen. Win there first, and the rest will follow. You are not your failures. You are not your pain. You are the fighter who refuses to quit. Hold on to that truth, build your mindset with intention, and watch how your life begins to change. Because when your mind refuses to quit, nothing can stop you.